Item number 1 is the apologies for absence. Stacey?
Thank you, Chair. We've got apologies from Councillor Telford and Councillor
Excellent. Okay. That to be noted. Declarations of interest. Minutes from the previous meeting. Moved. I shall sign those. Excellent. Item 4 then is the March's Local Enterprise Partnership Governance Review. What I'll do is just briefly introduce this because of the technical nature. I'll just hand over to Catherine once that's done. The government has insisted that there's a LEP governance review, which means that LEPs in their own have to be corporate structures in their own right, and this is our response to that. Catherine, do you want to just run through where we are on this?
Yes, by all means, Chair. So as you said, to date, local enterprise partnerships have been largely voluntary partnerships linking business and local authorities. Government's undertaken a review of LEPs and has determined that they must all have a distinct legal personality going forward. And the March's LEP, in consultation with government and the board members, has agreed to become a company limited by guarantee. The articles allow for all 3 of the local authorities to be public sector members of that company, with an ability to appoint 1 director to the board of the company. That gives each of those councils clearly an influence, continuing influence through the partnership. For the meetings to be quorate, there have to be at least 2 public sector members in attendance. And in addition, the LEP have agreed and written into the articles that there will be an engagement process with all the local authorities on key matters before those are reported through to the board. The recommendations in front of you, the first recommendation to 1 is that Telford Wrekin become a public sector member of the March's LEP, and the company is added to the Council's list of outside bodies. I'm proposing an amendment to the second recommendation. The LEP is continuing to finalise its articles, so to allow for that process, I'm proposing an amendment so that reads to delegate responsibility for the appointment of the director to Jonathan Etoff and in consultation with the leader, just so we can tie off that process at the appropriate moment.
Catherine, it's quite a detailed technical paper. Any comments? No? Any comments? No? So I'll move the recommendations. Second, all those in favour? Is everybody? Thank you. Cheers, Catherine. Okay, the next cabinet paper is Telford Wrekin Drug and Alcohol Strategy 2019 to 2023. Councillor Mehta.
Thank you, Chair. We've made great progress on this agenda in the last 5 years, improving treatment outcomes and developing a thriving recovery community, which is led by volunteers who are experts with lived experience. Partnership working across the council teams with police, probation and community and voluntary sector organisation has been a key to the success. This refreshed strategy has been developed in partnership, listening to professionals and taking into account the voice of service users. We have reframed the objectives and priorities and aligned to the other relevant strategies such as serious violence strategies, domestic abuse strategies, belonging and homelessness strategies. There are 10 set of key outcomes. The top 3 priority outcomes are as follows: increase the number of people receiving brief advice and entering alcohol treatment, increase the number of people successfully completing substance misuse treatment, better support for children and young people affected by substance misuse in families. The Cabinet are being requested to approve the refreshed drug and alcohol strategy today.
Councillor Mehta. Any comments or questions from members? Richard?
Yeah, I think it's really key and should be welcome how this council's worked with external organisations in delivering both peer-to-peer support and clinical support to those who find themselves addicted to alcohol and drugs. Of course, as the Cabinet Member for Domestic Violence, it is one of the toxic trio that we have to try and work together to try and have a whole system approach to delivering this strategy, and I fully welcome it.
Thank you, Richard. Councillor Reynolds.
Just a quick one, and I'm just really want to endorse what Rosie just said. I really welcome this report. I think it's very important that we do work with all we're in the unfortunate situation that the money we get from government isn't actually sufficient for what we need, and it's these preventative services that are really at the heart of ensuring that we're working with our communities and protecting those really most vulnerable. And it's not only just the service users, but it's all their families. So it's absolutely fantastic the work we're doing, and I fully endorse it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Liz, anything for yourself? Sorry, I'll come to you. Liz, anything for yourself, Andrew?
Well, it's just a quick comment, really. I mean, drugs, well, particularly drugs, are at the root of most of the crime, and I certainly welcome the input from the Crime and Police Commissioner of 0.6 million. I think that's getting it on the cheap, really, because potentially the savings there by investing in this are there to be achieved, I think. The one thing I did note that was missing from Councillor Mehta's presentation, forgive me if I didn't hear you, but it was the issue of education. Now, education is extremely important in this sort of issue, certainly with drugs and alcohol misuse. And it's catching people at a very early age to try and spell out exactly what the problems are, what the potential problems are, how that affects society, how it affects families and everybody else. So I think that's something that you do need to give some thought to and start to address as well. But the strategy itself, I welcome.
Thank you. Liz, just speak on that. I think it's a separate.
Outline some of the work we do with education. Yeah, so our schools programme has been really strengthened in terms of our loudmouth theatre productions, our crucial crew work, and hopefully through the PHSE changes, we've got to have more opportunities there.
That's good. I think it's good that we've got some consensus around the worth of it. It is a shame that the government is cutting our public health grant and not understanding the value of prevention is something that means that our acute hospital trusts are under huge amounts of pressure. And everybody knows, don't they, if you spend a few pounds on prevention, you then save hundreds of or even thousands of pounds later on. It's a great shame that when the government gave local authorities the public health responsibility with reduced funding, that they didn't then make it clear that over 5 years that funding will disappear altogether. And I welcome the work the LGA, the Conservative LGA, are doing on that. I do hope that, given the Conservative Party's leadership contest and all the issues that are being raised in that, which is very similar to the issues in this report, that public health can be put to at the top of the priority. That has been proposed and seconded. All those in favour? And that's everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Liz. Councillor Overton.
Yes, this is the annual report to request that Cabinet approves the nominations made to outside bodies as set out in Appendix 1 of the report. Move recommendations 2.1 and 2.2.
Any comments? Jonathan?
Leader, if I can just confirm that there's one slight amendment in that the Telford Wrekin Health Watch should be Councillor Stephen Reynolds rather than Councillor Reynolds.
Okay, so with that amendment, any comments or questions on that one? No? Anything from you? No? It's been seconded. All those in favour? That's all. Thank you. I'll call the meeting to a close. Thank you.